Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me in the studio today. Today's yoga practice, we're going to start on the ground. Its theme is going to be about healthy affirmations and how do we bring in health and wellness to our lives while replacing some of the old programs that may not be getting to our goals of where we'd like to be with our health and wellness. So please turn off the lights, turn off any distractions, whatever's comfortable. Make this yoga practice all about yourself. So we'll find our way to the ground. If you're using a heart rate monitor, feel free to start that up. Finding our way to the ground, bringing the knees into our chest. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. This healthy affirmations, reprogramming our subconscious yoga practice. So as we sway our knees a little side to side, relaxing. Find what feels best to us. Hands can be behind the thighs or wrapped around the knees. And let's find our feet toward the earth. So constructive rest position, we take the shoulder blades under, lengthen through the length of those arms, and then taking left hand to heart, right hand to belly. As we tune in, check in for a few moments here. So inhaling, belly rising to the sky. We can close our eyes if that's comfortable. Exhaling, belly draws back to the earth. Let's do that a few more times. Inhaling, belly drawing up toward the sky. In through the nose if it's comfortable. And exhaling out through the nose. We try to breathe in and out through the nose throughout our practice as it's starting to help to warm the body. Helps to humidify the breath. Helps to detoxify the breath. And as we add in that belly breath, that helps to take it out of our fight or flight, our go, go, go breath, to our relaxation and rest breath, where we can de-stress, repair, restore. Let's find a few more breaths here. As 10 to 12% of our mind is the conscious mind. So really 88 to 90% of our mind is subconscious, so unconscious. Programs that are going behind and we may not even be aware of. So when we take this time to tune in, to relax, especially in Shavasana, you may see some old programs kind of bubble up. What may be stymieing us from our goals? We all know that we should be eating healthy to take care of ourselves, as this body is the only vehicle that's carrying us through our lives. So just like any car, we would do the oil changes, we would do the maintenance as needed. And sometimes we don't treat ourselves that way. Their actions could just be neglect from doing the things we'd like to do to get to our goals. Or it could be actually destructive behaviors, like overeating or indulging too often, to lack of movement or extra intake of other things that are away from our goals. None of it's good or bad. It's finding harmony and balance with all of it. So just breathe in. What would we like to have in our lives? Really visualize that here. What we'd like to bring in. What would we like to invite in and give ourselves permission to have, to feel healthy and vibrant. Last breath here. And then let's take our hands overhead, extending, reaching. And then we'll draw the knees into the chest, tuck up, round up like the chin toward chest, like a little ball. Let's keep the right leg in, take the left leg out to what's comfortable. It can be on the ground or lifted. Then let's switch to the other side. Now if we're taking care of a gentle lower back, we can simply just place the toes to the ground here. Lots of options as we breathe and move through our practice today. So choosing the right options that work best for us as we tune in to our intuition or that deep sense of knowing. You can always relax the head back or keep it lifted with our shoulders lifted for our core. Last one on each side or so. Bringing the knees into chest, relax it back. Hands by our sides, flowing bridge. We press our feet to the earth. We inhale, lift the hips up. And then slowly exhaling, imprinting one vertebrae at a time back toward the earth, even through our hips. Rock and roll through the hips, lifting up. And then slowly exhaling. Options here we can add on. As we press up, we can inhale, take the hands overhead. And exhaling, hands by our sides. So we could just be doing the legs with the hips flowing, or we could add in these arms here, or start to add in a yogi crunch. So just when we come back down, shoulders lift, fingers toward those ankles, and then release. Inhaling, floating up to that bridge, and then exhaling, coming down. Let's do that a few more times. Find what inspires us here for action and movement. We find to try to work toward an intelligent craving. Now we may have cravings in life, desires. Are they ones that take us closer to our goals? Those are intelligent cravings. Or are they ones that take away from our goals? Those are unintelligent cravings or distractions, as we call them. Knees to chest. Let's roll to our side, using those hands helping ourselves up. Let's swing around so that we are on all fours. Knees are hip-width distance apart, hands underneath our shoulders. As we just rock the hips a little side to side here. Let's open up through the side body. You can call these elephant sways, just letting the hips go one way, the shoulders the other way. As we come back to neutral, we find a cat-like back. And then to the opposite into cow. We can kind of observe our distractions. What are our typical patterns? Is it watching too much Netflix? Is it taking time on social media and just scrolling? Is it comforting ourselves with food that may comfort in the moment but doesn't give us lasting comfort? There's lots of other distractions out there. Drugs, sex, alcohol. Just thinking about those distractions, they are actually addictions. Addictions and distractions are synonymous, if you think about it. Very similar, same. From tuning into what is truly within our space. What brings us to our higher sense of self. Maybe just those good things that we really want to work toward. Sinking those hips back. Child's pose, hands underneath our forehead. Let's find a gentle sway here. Sway the body. Rock it back and forth, what feels good to us. How would we feel if we took care of ourselves and nurtured ourselves? We can say to ourselves here, perhaps an affirmation. I enjoy feeling vibrant and alive. Even if we don't feel that 100%, if we can feel that a little in this present moment, bringing it into our space. Coming back to neutral, extending those hands forward, lifting to all fours, flowing, thread the needle. Right hand reaches up toward the sky, open it up. Exhaling, coming down to that shoulder. Extending that arm out, gentle twist, maybe gaze up toward the sky. Returning back to all fours. Other side, left hand reaches up, opens up, and then exhaling, coming down to that shoulder. Feel that twist behind the shoulder, through the spine, and then starting to take it at our own pace. Whenever we inhale, we lift up. And as we exhale, we lower down. Moving and flowing. Last one on each side or so. There's no rush, there's no hurry. There's good time for all of it here. To come back to all fours. A cat, a rounding of the back. Like a Halloween cat or a happy cat stretch. And then switch into the opposite. Bring that heart center forward. And then sink it back to child's pose. A beautiful question to ask ourselves here is, are we finding that we're doing things out of lack or out of love? When we take in nutritional food, it's out of love for ourselves. When we eat things that we don't want to be having in our lives, we do it typically out of lack. When you just play with those thoughts here, let's interlace behind the hands behind the back. Chest expansion, so hands reach toward the sky. The hands can be touching or not, just reaching skyward. Opening the chest helps to open ourselves up to love. What is loving to ourselves? Releasing those hands. Downward facing dog. Lifting the sit bones high toward the sky. Starting to alternating heel presses here. Walk those knees out. Pressing evenly into those hands, starfishing the fingers, middle finger forward. Drawing the hips toward the sky, to what's comfortable. Crown of the head reaching toward those thumbs. Just being in the present moment, whatever that means to ourselves, letting go of the past, not worrying about the future. The past is done. It is history. The future is yet to come. So it's a mystery. So today is a present. It's the gift that we have right here. The opening up that gift of the present. Let's walk it forward, forward, fold. Holding here, maybe a gentle sway of the torso, side to side. Maybe we can say an affirmation that resonates for us or not here, picking one that works. I'll offer one. I enjoy freedom in movement, freedom in thought that brings in good things to my life. As we come back to neutral, bend those knees. Inhale, rise it on up to the sky. And exhaling, hands to heart center. Let's step it back nice and wide on our mat. We'll do some moonflowers and sunflowers to get body warmed up. Inhaling, reaching hands overhead. Exhaling into moonflower, elbows by our sides. Inhale, reach it up overhead. Sunflower, thumb to thumb, pinky to pinky as we circle here. Now, as we move and flow, talking about affirmations today, bringing in health and well-being. We try to find something that is positive. So it's not, I don't want junk food in my life, because our mind doesn't always hear the don't. It just hears, I want junk food in my life. Just like if we're on the golf course, we don't say to ourselves, don't hit the sand trap, don't hit that water. Because what do? We hit the sand trap or the water. So our mind kind of ignores that. So we find something in the positive statement. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we state it in the present tense as if it's already happened or happening in the moment. Because if we state it as, I would like it to eventually be with my health and wellness, or some future tense, that means it'll always be in the future. So we state it as if it is happening right now. I am feeling joyous in my path to wellness. I'm enjoying the movement within my body, my mind, my heart. Last one here. Let's find a yogic squat, hands to heart center. As we settle down, bending those knees, sinking into those heels, lifting the heart center. We can close our eyes or gazing forward, bringing something joyous into our mind and especially into our heart. What thought, what emotion could bring in a sense of well-being here? Just being happy with what we have in the moment. We're moving through some moon salutations. So inhaling, reaching the hands overhead, 5-pointed star. Exhaling, circle sweeping those arms, we pivot and going into a lunge on one direction. Pyramid pose, hands to those thighs, hinging from our hips, gazing at the toe. And then reach it forward to half moon, so the back leg lifts. One hand can rise toward the sky. And then we come back into that malasana, that yogic squat. Hands to heart center. Inhaling, doing this moon salutations to the other direction. 5-pointed star, circle sweep those arms into a lunge. Hands to those thighs, pyramid pose, gazing at the toes. And then opening up to moon. Half moon pose, our hips open. Gaze at the earth or gaze to the side, and then coming back to our yogic squat. You can go on my cue or at your own pace. Flow as you breathe. Inhale, reach it up. Circle sweep, lunge. Back heels lifted. Pyramid, lengthening the legs to where it's comfortable. And then half moon. Returning to our yogic squat. Inhale, reach it up. Bringing that cool element. Lunge. Pyramid. Half moon. Sometimes we switch up from our sun salutations, which can be superheating, to our moon salutations, to be cooling within the mind, the body, and the heart, depending on what we need. Circle sweep into lunge. Back heel lifts, coming into our pyramid. Half moon. Moving with ease and grace. Yogic squat. Last one. Inhale, reach it up. Circle sweep those arms. Pivoting with that back heel lifting. Lunge into pyramid, both feet toward the ground, bending those knees or lengthen. Half moon, opening it up. And then coming into our yogic squat. No rush, no hurry. We'll find our time to be here. We can close our eyes or gaze forward. Breathing. How would we feel if we had health and well-being full time in our lives? What old programs kind of rise up? Things that might keep us from that space. And slowly releasing into mountain pose. Some old programs that come up for some of my clients. I have to eat at this time. My family ate at this time. We have 3 square meals a day. This is the time we eat. But in the Ayurvedic background, we eat when we're hungry. Truly hungry. Imagine what that might be like. Playing with that thought. As we step forward into mountain, inhale, reach the hands overhead. Exhaling, forward folding. Let's lift halfway into monkey. And release it down. Right leg steps back into warrior one, so back heel to the earth, hands to the thighs. Let's take it up overhead, reaching hands overhead, holding here. Chest expansion, interlacing the hands behind the back, lifting the chest toward the sky. Gazing forward, we can bow forward into humble warrior. Exhaling, releasing here. Give ourselves a few moments. We can always have hands on thighs or hands on the earth if we'd like. Standing split, so we take the hands to the earth, lifting the back leg toward the sky, gazing at the shin or toward the earth. Knowing why we do what we do, we can always stay in one place. We don't have to transition to the next. A forward fold, bend those knees, inhale, rise it to the sky. Standing camel pose, hands to our hips, elbows squeezing toward each other as we lift the chest toward the sky. Broadening through our heart center, finding what it is to move out of lack and into love. To do things not from a stress place, which is fear, but out of love. Slowly releasing, forward fold. Inhaling, lifting halfway up, monkey. Exhaling, forward folding. Left leg steps back into warrior one, back heel toward the earth, bending the front knee, hands to the thighs, and then reaching hands overhead. As we stay here, soften through our jaw. We tune into how we're truly feeling within the body. That's why in yoga it's so wonderful to connect to the body, really feeling what is going on. Oftentimes we're so disconnected that we have our automatic programming that just runs. Let's take the hands behind the back as an option, lifting the chest. Coming into our humble warrior option, chest toward the thighs. Now we can always take our hands to the leg or to the earth. Humble warrior. Sometimes we have to humble ourselves to our thoughts. Why are we thinking that? What is our motivation? Are we doing this because it's habit? Are we doing this because we truly have looked at it and brought it in to internalize it as our own? Let's release the hands. Coming into a standing splits. We can gaze at the shin or gaze at the ground. Hands supporting us. We can always use yoga blocks underneath our hands or water bottles that are stable. Forward folding. Both feet joining each other, bend those knees. Use those outer glutes. Inhale, rise it on up to the sky. On chest expansion, you can interlace the hands or just take the palms apart and then lift the chest, gazing forward or skyward. You might feel a nice stretch across the whole abdominal area here or across the chest itself. Squeezing the shoulder blades back. Slowly releasing, forward folding. Right leg steps back into warrior one. We've been here before. We can experience it in a different way, taking hands to thighs or hands overhead. And then let's find hands at heart center. Pausing here. We can play with those concepts, the ideas that maybe we've internalized from the external world. It's nice to have society have certain rules that we all follow. Does that work for us? Examining it and adopting it can be great, or examining it and finding what works for us might be different. Let's frame that front foot into a lunge. We lift the back heel, holding here. A gentle twist. So right hand in the earth, left hand toward the sky. Pausing. We can say an affirmation to ourselves, something that helps to support us here. I enjoy movement. I enjoy bringing health into my life. Notice how that helps here in a lunge. We can always drop the back knee to the ground while we're doing the work. Should make things a little easier. Slowly releasing. Let's frame it. Step it forward and inhale, rise it to the sky. Standing camel, hands to those hips. Squeeze those elbows toward each other. Squeeze the shoulder blades back, opening the heart center. We're working on a lot of chest expansion here. Let's around our fourth chakra, Anahata. I love that translation of Anahata from Sanskrit to English, means unstruck. Could you imagine if we all walked around with an unstruck heart? Self-love, love for others, Would our actions be different? Slowly release, forward fold. Left leg steps back into our warrior one. Let's move with love. Taking our time to inhale, reach it up overhead, building up as we like comfortably. We can always go wider with our legs if that feels more comfortable, or keeping them on a narrow railroad track. Hands to heart center. Holding here, sinking perhaps a little more. What kindness could we show ourselves in actions today? That deep, intellectual craving, that knowing of what works for us. Maybe we have automatic programs that when we do X, we do Y. When we come home from work or when we need a break, we give ourselves, and fill in the blank. Let's take this to the ground. Lift the back heel. Left hand to the sky, right hand, or left hand to the ground, right hand to the sky. One of my typical programs used to be, I work hard to be able to work harder. You have to work hard for what you're getting. So the only way I gave myself a break was when I was sitting down to eat, or sitting down to take a break. I would eat, and then I could watch TV, otherwise I wouldn't want to watch TV. So it's a cycle that took some time, some analysis to let go of. I deserve rest. We all deserve self-care. Slowly release, frame that front foot, step it forward, bend those knees, inhale, rise it on up. What loving actions can we take for ourselves into chair as we sink down? We can gaze forward or to the side. Lift one heel as an option. Placing that heel on the ground, the other one lifts. And slowly release, inhale, rise it on up. Hands to heart center. As we come into our balance postures, yogi's choice, but I'll be offering up dancer pose. So if you'd like a different balance posture like tree or pigeon, feel free. So dancer, if you'd like the wall close by, feel free to grab that. Right hand reaches back, going to the inside of that ankle, squeeze the knees toward each other, lift the chest. We can stay here, we can lift the left hand toward the sky. We can stay here, or we can start to lean forward and press that heel toward the sky. You can always hold the wall if that feels best. And taking our time to release. Let's go to the other side. So you can just flip around if you're using the wall. Left hand goes back, palm out, thumb up, and we kick to the inside. Knees toward each other, draw the core in, staying here, bending that standing leg. Opposite hand can reach toward the sky. Can stay here, we can start to lean forward, press that heel up toward the sky. Notice how in any balanced posture, it's not about being static. It's about making those subtle adjustments to keep us balanced. It's a great thing as we release to remind ourselves about life, right? Anytime that we come into a balanced situation, there's movements. It's not about keeping exactly the same with every pattern that we do. It's about making these adjustments, right? Fine-tuning. Let's go ahead and take our hands overhead. Inhale, reach it up to the sky. Exhaling, forward folding. We're gonna find a deep squat. So let's bend those knees a lot, coming down. We can stay here, or we can find our hands at heart center for our balance. We can stay here, take the knees toward each other. To find a hover, we lift those hips so that the thighs come off of the back of those calves a little or a lot. Balancing to what's comfortable, keeping the gaze forward on the ground. You can always have your hands on the ground and then release. Let's find our way back to child's pose. Hands underneath our head or by our sides of our arms. We can go wide kneed or close kneed and just gently rock our head from side to side, rubbing across the brow, our area of deep intuition or deep knowing. That connection to ourselves. As we talked about, the subconscious is such a big part of the mind. The conscious is just what we think about on a daily movement, what we think is our thoughts. We just kind of tune in here. We awaken the brow center. Let's help ourselves up with our hands. We'll swing those legs out in front of us. So we have an inclined plank, a little bit of work, or we can do a tabletop. Both are great options. Both are chest expansion. So find what works for us here. So extend those legs out. Hands by our sides, fingers pointing forward or to the side, just not too much backward. That puts a lot of pressure on our wrists. And then as we lift up, we open the front of the body. If this is not comfortable, this is a smaller chest opener. A bigger chest opener, but a little bit easier on the legs, is to open up with our feet underneath our knees. So either variation, to inclined plank or to tabletop. Gazing forward or toward the sky. Give ourselves another breath or two. And then take our time to release. Let's extend those legs. Seated staff, so Dandasana. Just hands by our hips. Today we just have a gentler practice so that we can allow ourselves that mental space to let programming come up, understanding the why we do things, letting go of judgment, expectations and competition, and then reach it forward, forward, full. What's comfortable here, we can always keep with our hands here. Maybe this is where we stay. We can always bend the knees a little bit more as we lean forward. What type of affirmation could we bring in here? One we've already used that resonated perhaps, or finding a different one. Related to our goals for health and well-being. Doesn't just have to be about food or exercise. It can be about mental health. Watching our thoughts as they rise and fall. If there's any negative ones, automatic negative thoughts, as we call ants, maybe we can transform those here. Sometimes things come up like, I'm always behind, or I'm always busy. Anytime we use qualifiers like always or never, we can pretty much be sure that we're wrong, that our mind is creating some optical illusion that's not true. Let's take our time to release. Let's come on forward, especially can't. As we come down to the ground, knees to chest. Let's give a gentle sway here, side to side. We can take our toes to the ground, release the knees to one side, stretch. And then to the other side, stretch and release. Maybe we had a little back crack. Maybe we're just finding some stretch to the back or chest opening to the sky. And then let's make our way to Shavasana. So we could stay with that constructive rest pose the way we started our practice, with knees tented, feet to the outer edge of the mat. Left hand to heart, right hand to belly. Or we could take the arms out by our sides, take the legs all the way out. Could rock the head from side to side. And then we bring it to center, so nose pointing toward the sky. Just help ourselves with alignment. as we inhale here and exhale. Placing the tongue on the roof of the mouth. If we can find the whole tongue to the roof of the mouth, we can notice that might relax the jaw. Natural reset for relaxation across the entire face. And maybe we've sparked an idea throughout our practice today about what is our old programs or unconscious programs that stop ourselves from our health and well-being. Perhaps it's the belief that we have to eat at a certain time or a certain way. We listen to our intellectual cravings, our body knows, it truly needs. Maybe it's finding the right movement. Whenever we hear the whispers of, we should turn that TV show off, or we should be eating something different, we push it away. It's such a gentle whisper. But that is our guidance system. So maybe a good affirmation for us here would be, I listen to my inner knowing toward health and wellness. I live with sense of balance and ease in my life. I'm taking action out of love. The love for myself. The love for feeling good. Or any other affirmations that reside with us, resonate. Find that feeling at a present tense of what we would like to manifest. Let that feeling radiate bigger and bigger with each breath. Now starting to cement that feeling in. So that our actions can be in alignment with our true desires for health and well-being. Starting to deepen the breath. You can start to reanimate the body, perhaps moving our fingers or our toes, or making the knees go side to side. We'll find our knees to chest. And then rocking, rolling, coming up to a seated position. With hands at heart center. Reaffirming any of those emotions that we'd like to bring in, or any of those affirmations. We can write those down, and with a dry erase marker on our mirror, write them up. Put them next to our bed so we can read them morning and night. If you need other help with affirmations, I have some on my website at leslieLharrington.com. I'd be happy to help with those. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Namaste.